In competitive categories, you can't survive at an average 4-star. You need to have at least 4.5 stars. PPC is not the cure-all. All PPC can do is drive additional traffic to the listing. That's it. PPC does not increase conversion rate.
One thing you can do is wait until the customer has purchased a second time before you request that review.
Welcome back to That Amazon Ads Podcast, where today we are continuing the journey of growing a brand to $1 million in annual revenue. We are partnering with the brand Insulted, and this is part 7 of our series of trying to get this brand to $1 million in annual revenue within 12 months. Andrew, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Excited to give the next steps and everything we've been working on. It's been a little while since we last spoke about Insulted, so this will be a good update for everybody and see how things are going so far.
Yep. So I'm going to pull open the screen share and we'll dive right in. All right. So here we have our total performance account overview, just tracking our key metrics, primarily the ad spend, ad sales, total sales, as well as our ACoS and our ad cost of total sales. Now, we are recording this currently on November 1st, so we just closed out the month of October. This is typically what we do with clients is at the end of every month, you want to tally up the metrics, do your month-end review, see what the next steps are, see how performance is trending. So this ties in nicely to our normal flow. So if you're an advertising manager or work with an agency, this is a great episode just to kind of show you. In this episode, we're mostly just analyzing performance, reviewing the month, troubleshooting, and discussing next steps to continue working towards that goal. Now, overall, the performance has been mediocre for us and is unfortunately underperforming our expectations. We were hoping to see quite a few more sales happening by this time, and we're about to dive into why that might not be the case and what the next steps would be. Overall, you can see that this is 2024 down here, so maybe I need to zoom in a tiny bit. So compared to last October, we are up slightly as we go into November and December. It seems like the trend for electrolytes seems to trend down a little bit, which makes sense. They are usually used for hydration, especially when you're outdoors a lot, sweating a lot. So it would make sense that in November, December, you don't quite get that same demand and volume. And then as we go into Q1, we would kind of expect, with New Year's resolutions, similar to other supplement categories, you might get a little bit of a bump. And then definitely going into the spring and summertime, that's where we're expecting the peak. So right now we are up slightly from the previous year, not quite where we wanted to be at, but our ad cost of total sales is currently in we're only at 20%. So we have permission to go up to 30% with the ad cost of total sales. So if we come over here and if we're just looking at what we've been doing for the month of October, here you see that the ad cost of total sales is 19%. The ACoS is actually over 100%, which we are allowing to happen because the primary goal is keeping ad cost of total sales below 30%. So what we typically do is we determine what our target ACoS should be based on how the ad cost of total sales is performing. So we'll raise and lower our ACoS goals to manipulate that ad cost of total sales. Now, Andrew, we did some changes with with our product strategy. So as you guys have seen, we updated our product images, things like that. But Andrew, what else did we do just at a product level in terms of which ASINs we're supporting and how our strategy changed there?
Yeah, so one of the things that we noticed was that a couple of the child ASINs have much better click-through rate and conversion rate than the others. And so what we decided to do was lead with our best foot forward and feature that hero SKU, the one that is driving the highest conversion, highest click-through, which was that variety pack. I think it also, comes in at a better price point, and it gives a consumer the opportunity to try a bunch of different flavors all at once, so then they can come back and get the one that they really like. So we decided to pause the 3 ASINs that weren't performing as well and just lead with that one main SKU.
Yep, and I know some people are saying, "What do you mean that has the highest conversion rate?" It shows a less than 6% ad conversion rate and a less than 10% total conversion rate, whereas these other ones are getting like 100% conversion rate, a 25% conversion rate. Well, because we paused the ad spend on those, the amount of traffic going to those is significantly lower. So those numbers are based on fewer total clicks, which is why they look more inflated now. But when we were looking specifically into non-brand search for people searching for electrolytes, and those really competitive terms, this product was the one that performed the best because it came in at a lower price point. Where's our price tab? So here's the price of the products and the $22 entry point for the variety pack that has, fewer total packets but more variety. That's the one that's actually doing the best for people who are just discovering the brand. We have a much higher conversion rate on these other flavors for branded traffic. We are getting a decent amount of branded traffic that's helping drive sales for these ones at a higher price point for people who, they start with the variety, they find the flavor that they like, and then they continue to repurchase that one at a higher AOV. So that explains the higher total conversion on these other products. It's coming from repeat purchases. But in terms of new customer acquisition, it is the variety pack that performs the best.
Yeah, that's such a good point about the conversion rate differences there. I know you showed that we're seeing a heightened conversion rate on the mango and the other flavors now. Like you said, we paused ads, and so the only other traffic that those listings are going to be getting primarily is if we're ranking somewhere else, and where we're ranking other places is on branded terms. So it makes sense that those conversion rates are a lot higher when we pause the ads and just let all the natural traffic come through. Definitely going to have a higher conversion rate there. But one thing in line with the conversion rates that we need to call out that happened over the last month is we started to see some negative reviews come onto the listing. So that has had a pretty substantial impact on our rating. So we saw our rating go from 4.5 stars down to 4 stars. And Steven, if you could, let's just pull up the conversion rate and see how that's changed over the last month or so.
Yeah, and I'm gonna point out some. So if we look up here and we look at our total conversion rate, it looks like total conversion rate is up a little bit, and it looks like ad conversion rate is down a little bit. One thing that's very important to keep in mind is total conversion rate is looking at like total sessions, total orders per session from the Seller Central business reports. Those have a decent amount of branded search volume that is the primary driver of any organic sales that we're getting. Whereas the advertising, because the goal is we don't want to pay, like, brand defense is not a major part of our advertising strategy because a lot of times you're just cannibalizing organic sales that would have happened naturally. So we're doing a little bit of brand defense, but the majority of the traffic coming through ads is non-brand, which basically means it's less friendly. And so if you have any kind of issue with the listing, like Andrew mentioned with the reviews, you're going to most heavily experience that impact on the advertising side of things. And so that is also a major contributor to why sales have been flat, largely is because going from September into October, we did have, unfortunately, some negative reviews come through, which did drop our rating down to only 4 stars. And we're using this plugin called Keepa that Andrew actually found and recommended. And this is a great tool that shows you the historical rating of a product. So we can see that this one was averaging 4.4 stars, which is always going to round up to 4.5. And then we went to 4.3, which 4.3 still rounds up to 4.5 because it's greater than 4.25, right? Yeah. As long as you have 4.25 star reviews, it'll show up as 4.5. And then boom, right there on October 17th, we lost that. We fell below that 4.25 level and started reflecting as only 4 stars. So yeah, Andrew, what were you going to say additionally on this?
No, nothing additional to add. Just a quick plug for Keepa. I mean, this tool is super advanced and allows you to pull a lot of historical data. It's probably one of the most data-rich plugins that you can have for Amazon. So definitely encourage you to check that one out. This is the paid version, so you do get the longer history as well as just some additional features like the rating and reviews versus just having the sales rank and price monitoring. But overall, super super helpful for telling the story, especially you're looking back year over year or whatever, and notice that you want to see rank trends. You want to see how you're ranking this year compared to last year, prices compared to last year at the same time, all this type of stuff. So that's a great tool and really helped us pinpoint and figure out why our conversion rates were coming down. We were able to see it very easily and quickly with that.
And I actually do want to see, even like we set the date range to just from October 17th onwards. Um, Actually, I guess it was not. Yeah, you do see the total conversion rate drops quite a bit here. Conversion rate actually wasn't down too bad. So it always depends, right? Like there's more than one variable influencing why these conversion rates move around the way that they do. But in this case, like the total conversion rate on this one, which is our primary driver of sales, dropped by 32%. And so, that's obviously going to influence total sales dropping up to 20%, and getting some increases in ACOS overall as a result. So those are the primary issues that we're facing. So in terms of next steps and how to combat this, we have two primary strategies. And actually, let me back up. I also want to talk, before we talk about next steps, I want to talk briefly on sponsored brands and what we've been seeing there, because on the last episode of the Insulted Brand Study, we were launching a bunch of sponsored brand ads, and what we saw is kind of what we did expect, which is sponsored brands are not going to be a major mover on the needle for you, primarily because those CPCs are so expensive and the conversion rates are typically lower compared to sponsored products. And so you also just have way less opportunity, and like you don't have as many placements as sponsored products do. So even though we're bidding more, we're spending far less compared to sponsored products, and we're getting a higher cost per click and a lower conversion rate, which all just combines into creating a much higher ACOS on way fewer sales. So we're going to continue refining these and testing new sponsored brand strategies. We're testing different creatives, different headlines. I think the ads themselves are fine, but the primary thing is that we really need to get these conversion rates to, the average on Amazon is around 10%. And to succeed in really competitive categories, you need to be usually over 20% conversion rate, which I know sounds astronomical to a lot of people, but it's actually very common for successful supplement brands. Andrew and I have both worked for several that average over 30% conversion rate on non-brand competitive keywords. And the biggest factor to getting that conversion rate is going to be those reviews. So that's just a quick update on how the sponsored brands we're doing. Overall, we just, there's a few, we've talked about the keywords, we've talked about keyword harvesting, managing the bids. We're doing all of that. Right now, we can't drive as much traffic as we want to these listings with the keywords that work, just because the conversion rates aren't high enough to afford those CPCs. We saw for a lot of these keywords, especially like around Prime Day and everything, the CPCs were getting up to $10 a click. And obviously we can't pay that much especially now with a conversion rate below 10%. So if you can't bid what the competition is bidding, which is $8, $9, $10 for a click, and you're only bidding what you can technically afford, which in this case is like $2 to $3, which is still expensive, you're obviously not going to get as much visibility compared to what the competition is able to afford. So that's the primary issue. In order for us to be able to really afford those clicks, we need to get that conversion rate. The first goal is to get it over 10%. The second goal is to get it to at least 20%, and that's going to come down to reviews. So Andrew, what's the strategy there with helping out with these reviews?
Yeah, so to help with reviews and to help with overall conversion, we're recommending to the brand that they start leveraging influencers and affiliate marketing a little bit more heavily. So leaning into platforms like an Archer Affiliates or something like that, where you can advertise your product, have influencers make videos, make content about it, and share that with their audience. That's going to help drive pre-exposed traffic to your listing where they've already been interacting with your brand, where conversion rates are going to be much higher if they've already been pre-exposed before coming to Amazon and looking for the electrolytes. So that's one avenue that we're going to be exploring and helping to drive some additional visibility for the brand and help combat some of the things, because a lot of the problems that we're dealing with are, lower in the funnel. And so we're trying to go up funnel and try to generate some more of that awareness and traffic using those influencers.
Yeah. And something else too is sometimes the review that people leave actually breaks one of the terms of service with Amazon sometimes. So there are other services too where you hire them and they will go investigate all the negative reviews. And if they see that there's something in the review that violates the Amazon's terms of service, they can fight to get that review removed for you. So that is basically the strategy. Is we got to try to, in competitive categories, you can't survive at an average 4-star. You need to have at least 4.5 stars. And especially with our competition, they're averaging 4.5 to 5 stars with thousands of reviews. So it will be very critical to try to work our way to getting over 1,000 total ratings, averaging 4.5 stars. It's a very difficult battle, but that is where that's where the strategy progresses. You cannot just, PPC is not the cure all. All PPC can do is drive additional traffic to the listing. That's it. PPC does not increase conversion rate. You can, sometimes find certain keywords that convert a little bit better and obviously drive more of the right traffic. But at the end of the day, you simply just, PPC is not the magic bullet or silver bullet to just taking a brand to where it needs to go. There's a lot of other strategy that needs to be involved. Now, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say the only other thing is that you can do to help stimulate additional reviews is there are review follow-up sequences that you can sign up for,
Right.
like Jungle Scout review automation system or whatever it's called. That's going to send emails to the purchasers of your product and request those reviews. Now, quick caveat, with a product that is a supplement or something that is negatively reviewed very often, like with this one, a lot of people say it's really salty, really salty. One thing you can do is wait until the customer has purchased a second time before you request that review. And that'll help improve the overall ratings that you get because you're soliciting reviews from people who have purchased it more than once. They obviously like the product. And just a quick little hack for you.
Yep. Great idea. But yeah, when you search for electrolytes, you can just, again, see the competition. Element is the largest competitor, 20,000 reviews, averaging 4.5 stars. So it's very, very difficult. And it's crowded, it's competitive. These CPCs, like we said, get up to like $8, $9, $10. And if you're averaging 4 stars with fewer reviews and your price is, very comparable or maybe even a little bit more expensive, it's just not going to work that well. So that is the most important thing for us to clean up. And then one other thing is that if we just type in salted electrolytes, so you'll notice we are only able to win 1 organic placement and 1 sponsored placement. So we're actually getting cannibalized where we're losing 2 other spots, 3 of the 4 sponsored product spots are being taken up by competition, and we can only max have 2 placements. Okay, 3. Because as Andrew has rightly pointed out, you can only win 1 sponsored product placement per eligible sponsored product placements. There are actually 2 eligible sponsored product placements. One is just in the search, and the second is in the what Amazon calls featured products row, which this used to be highly reviewed products, and now it's saying customers frequently viewed. So it rotates. Sometimes it's highly reviewed. Sometimes it's sponsored products related to your other searches or sponsored products related to whatever, just frequently viewed. So this is one potentially or a second potential additional placement for sponsored products. But point being, we have 5 products, right? So it's kind of a bummer that we can only place 1 of our 5 products in there. And the reason for that is because Amazon limits the number of placements you can have per product to just 1 parent. So the other strategy we are considering doing that we're likely going to move forward with is splitting up this listing into multiple parents. We're going to test it with at least 2 parents and see how that does. We're going to take either the grapefruit or the lemon ginger and split that aside into a second one so that we can have 2 placements up at the top. So in this case, we're searching for the brand just to prove the point. But this will most come into effect in terms of the non-brand keywords. So when we're bidding on electrolytes, fasting electrolytes, those types of things, we really want to dominate that whole top shelf and have 3, 4 appearances there. At least 1 as an organic, if we can get there, and then having 1, 2, or 3 more sponsored listings. But those will require having additional parents. So that's why if you come here and you search just electrolytes, you're going to see Liquid IV appears twice, and that's because these are 2 different parent ASINs. And so if you click through on this one, it's going to be their they just have a massive catalog, so it's kind of crazy. So they got that one, and then they also have the other one went away, so I can't see it anymore. But yeah, that's the second idea. So in terms of next steps for this brand, the strategy actually goes beyond just the PPC itself. We can test adding in some sponsored display campaigns, but those really, sponsored brands doesn't move the needle that much. Sponsored display moves the needle even less. But there are some strategies we can do with that will screen share and show you exactly how we're setting those up. But the primary strategies right now are actually outside of the PPC. It comes down to cleaning up the reviews and splitting up the parent ASINs, working with some affiliates, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah. And in splitting up that parent, we might find that some of the ASINs have better star ratings than the others. And so we might be able to actually improve conversion rate just with, maybe having 5-star or 4.5 stars instead of the 4 stars on one of them. So by splitting them up, we'll be able to see the reviews and ratings on those, and that could potentially help as well.
All right. So that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow the journey of Insulted, and let us know what you think. If you have ideas as well, we can turn this into a group activity. Drop your comments for any strategies you have in terms of how to improve reviews, things that we can do, maybe some items that we haven't considered yet. And we'll see you guys next week on That Amazon Ads podcast.